is like the third time that I'm re-recording the same exact video because every day I'm like, okay, I'll just post this tomorrow, and then tomorrow comes, and then there's more data, there's more matches that happen, things go slightly up, things go slightly down. I'm like, okay, well, I gotta do it again with the new data. Anyway, guys, today we're doing a season 20 RTA tier list. This is not based on my opinion. This is based on win rate. This is all based on numbers, all based on data collected. Obviously, if it was based on my opinion, I wouldn't have to re-record the video so many times. So this is provided by SW Arena Relisor. Relisor, if you're watching, he's probably not watching this, but if he is watching this, hit me up because I couldn't find a donate button. I was looking to donate on the website because he provides a lot of information. He has an Amazon affiliate link for Amazon coins, but he doesn't have any donate thing, so I would like to donate to him. So hit me up if you're a Relisor and you're watching this. Hit me up or put a donate button on the website or whatever, because I think a lot of people would be interested in that. Anyway, moving on, the win rate here will change the further we go into the season. I can't say that enough. Even every day, with many of these units at 50% plus win rate, seeing a decrease by 1% or more, it will. I mean, they'll generally stay in the same place. I'll mention there's a couple of them that are gonna go down in win rate, but we'll mention that when we get to that. So currently here is, did I finish saying this? Yeah, I did. So currently here are the top picked units. We see Wusa, big shocker. If you've done any RTA at all this season, you know Wusa is first. It used to be Ciara. Ciara used to be the first pick, but now that Wusa is buffed to be as strong as he is, because he didn't really used to do any damage unless you put crit damage on him, which is what I used to have on my Wusa. It's pointless to put crit damage, by the way, on Wusa now because he's just going to do his damage with skill 2. It can't crit. So his skill 2 is just going to do damage regardless. Does pure damage. So Wusa being so strong made him meta, which dropped Ciara quite far out of being picked first. Now, Ciara, it's very hard for Ciara users to find, unless they have multiple strips, unless they're, not worried about the Wusa because they have enough strips to not really worry about it. They're not worried about the Wusa because they have enough strips to not worry about it. It's harder for Ciara to find an opening, so Ciara is dropped in the meta this season, which is kind of shocking because usually you see Ciara very high on the pick list, right? One of the most picked units. Right now, at this point, we are actually seeing Gianna picked in more matches than Ciara. That's what happens when Wusa is the meta. Wusa is being used in 78.55% of matches. He is the first pick unit very, very often. He's not often banned. I think his ban rate was like 17. Hold on, where is it? I think his ban rate was 17.78%. So he's not usually banned. Leo actually has the highest ban rate. Leo, Bulwark, and Tian Lang are the ones. I think it's Leo, Tian Lang, Bulwark ban rate. Yeah, Leo, Tian Lang, Bulwark, Tian Dasheng, Tessarion, Rika are the top most banned units. But yeah. Anyway, so Wusa, 18,100. He's basically defining the meta. Shengpeng, which is also a lot of times being picked against Wusa because it's very strong against Wusa. Also being picked with Wusa because, again, it's very strong. It's very strong against Wusa. So a lot of Wusa players are a lot of Wusa players. Everyone this season is a Wusa player. 78% of players this season are Wusa players. The other 21.45% are not Wusa players. So a lot of people playing Wusa and Shengpeng together, or Wusa and Diana together as well. So Wusa, Shengpeng, Karnal, which used to be more just Shengpeng, Karnal. 2 seasons ago, Wusa was like probably not even on the top 10 most picked list, to be honest. He was still a fine unit. You just had to pick him later in the draft. But with his effectiveness going up, it's just really about picking the most effective units just overall. And that skill 2, man, that skill 2 is very, very strong. Anyway, there's not really too many downsides. He's got crazy high base speed. He's got immunity. He's got shield. He's got, prevents a lot of damage from your units. 3-turn immunity, which is, he only has, 1 turn of downtime, I believe. And then he does damage. He does pure damage and also heals the team. You could use him in, like, any comp. Like, genuinely any comp you could use Wusa in. Anyway, Dynamo, Long, Nana, Gianna, CR. I just think that this is funny. CR used to be number 1 in pick list. Number 1 in the most picked units. Not last season, because last season was actually Wusa 2, I believe. Actually, we could find that out right now. Yeah, last season was a slight variation, but Wusa was number 1 as well. But the CR used to be, on season 18, season 17, CR used to be the number 1 most picked unit. So it's just shocking to see that. And then we have Juno and Hey Gang down there at the very end. Sometimes they're the best picks for the job, but yeah, anyway. much of the picks bans meta this season, I already mentioned this, is revolving around the number 1 pick, Wusa, since his buff. That's why we're seeing an increase in effectiveness of units like Tiana and a decreased pick rate of units like Rika, etc. So Rika actually has quite a low. You guys like, Bagel, can you please get to the tier list? No, in typical Bagel fashion, Rika's only picked in 4.53% of matches because Wusa is picked so often that Rika is like, you last pick Rika if no one's picking a Wusa, but most matches are Wusa, and then you can just have double immunity if you pick a Wusa and a Riley. Then you have your double immunity, and Rika's going to find it hard to actually find an opening. So anyway, here is the, hold on, we got to do this. And then we got to do this. And here is the tier list. So this is a tier list, again, based on win rate. It does change slightly every day with more matches coming in, more data coming in. But for the most part, I am surprised to see Charlotte up here, 53% win rate. Gianna kind of came down. I feel like tomorrow Gianna's just going to be right up here. But for the time being, Gianna's just right on the edge of these two. So 53% win rate, Tianlang, not really shocking at all. Tianlang is always up there. Kitian Dasheng is just such a strong unit. I mean, everyone wants their LD5s buffed, but when you have Tianlang and Kitian Dasheng, like, you have no argument for why your LD5 should be buffed. Narsha is a very strong unit as well. She's basically like, if you guys don't know what she does, she's basically like a buffed Lauren, right? Lauren that does like a bunch of damage too. We have Charlotte, which, to be honest, Charlotte is she's still gonna have a good win rate, but she's gonna drop down in the. I am a Charlotte abuser myself. Not very many people actually picking Charlotte. She is in 5.88% of matches, but she's very effective when she actually is being used. So she's got the attack age. If you guys don't remember what Charlotte got a buff. If you guys are coming back to the game, she does attack age increase. She does attack age decrease for the enemies as well. She's got the AoE, multi-hit skill 3, which is going to glancing hit the enemies and then also decrease their attack age, increase your team's attack age. So actually kind of an underrated unit. I think that more people should. She was even useful back, a few seasons ago. People just didn't give her enough credit, and now she's actually got a pretty good win rate. Win rate right now this season. Where is the actual numbers? I mean, I'll actually leave the numbers themselves in a comment. So just in case you guys are curious on the actual numbers. Then we have Gianna, Nana, Volantis. I mean, super OP stuff. The odd man out. I mean, the odd man out here is. I just feel like the odd ones out are the non-LD5s, to be honest. But Jameer, which I've been saying is a good unit. He's so flexible. You could use him against CC. You could use him with anything to make anything stronger, really. And he does damage now, too, which is, like, if you guys are coming back to the game, you used to play back in the day, you're coming back now. He does damage based on speed with skill 1, so he does more damage than he used to do, which provides a little bit more. I mean, he did damage with skill 2 and, like, TOA and stuff based on enemy max HP, but he's just much stronger now than he was before. He's stronger now than he was before. Also, he provides a speed lead too. I just think this guy has been underrated for a while, and people maybe, you know what? People may be finally understanding that he's good, but this is going to go down just in general. I know Jameer is going to go down. Like, as much as I love Jameer, I know that this cleave comp is going to go down in win rate just throughout the season. It's not going to be any shocker. Molly, actually, she didn't get a buff or anything. Molly just happens to have a high win rate right now. This will go down. This will go down. These will probably stay here. This is going to stay here, I'm sure. This is going to stay here. Lima, actually, I don't remember where Lima was last season. I'm spending entirely too much time trying to find Lima stuff. Let's just move on. Next up, we have Hathor. In the 50 to 51% win rate, we have Hathor. We have Karnal. No surprise there. We have Gani. We have Savannah. All these things limit the amount of turns the enemy can take. And if you limit turns in a turn-based game, very strong, right? So then we have the Tiana, which is just, she's become more picked this season. She's become more effective this season with a slightly higher win rate than usual because she is, if your opponent's first picking Wusa, Tiana's just an easy counter that you don't have to worry about RNG. If you could take RNG out of the equation and counter the most picked unit, then you're already off to a great start. So that's why she's been so effective this season, more so than usual. Not that she's bad otherwise, but just more effective in RTA. Usually there's better stuff for RTA, but really depends on what the meta kind of surrounds in any given season. So we have these ones, just like I said, turn denial units. This would be so much higher on the win list if it was actually let through. 50% ban rate, 50.13% ban rate, absolutely ridiculous. As a person that bans Leo myself, I work so hard to get speed on my units, and then the opponent picks a Leo, and I'm like, you're gonna tell me that like all my rune farming is for nothing? No, I'm banning I am a dirty Leo banner, but so are 50% of the players, or at least 50% of the people that are faced with Leo, because he's a counter to a lot of things, like, for example, this, if you pick Leo with Ragdoll, it's a super toxic combination. Leo with Vertiheal, Leo with anything that turns cycles, like, for example, this, with this, since it turn cycles 45% with skill 1 as long as it crits. So super nasty turn cycle with Juno as well. I'm actually surprised Juno is not higher on the list, but you know. Anyway, I mean, well, the effectiveness of Wusa, like, even though she strips everything, Wusa is a water unit, and also he can do enough damage to her to take out, like, usually a third of her HP, I believe, if I recall correctly, with his skill 2. But anyway, Leo's just such a fantastic unit in the current meta of, like, speed, or in any meta of speed. And then we have Ongyuki, which just can't be killed when he's CC'd. He's just been strong in general. It's not necessarily having to do with this meta or anything else. We have Fart Master. So this is 49 to 50% win rate. Also, I want to mention a couple things that I did not mention earlier. This is just the 50 most picked units. This is not including things that may have, like, a 55% win rate, but only got picked 10 times in Fighter 3. This is the most picked units. This is the 50 most picked units in high-level RTA. So this is not like, oh, I'm in Challenger 3, and I picked this unit once, and I won with it once. It has a 100% win rate. It's using only the things that have the largest sample sizes here. So, and then these units, just because people that are earlier mid-game or, like, trying to get into RTA, first off, don't. No, I'm just kidding. But people that are trying to get into RTA may be kind of confused with this. Like, okay, I should just pick, if I have Jameer, I should just pick him all the time. I mean, you should just pick Jameer all the time. That's not quite it. It's like, if your opponent is picking some nasty stuff over here, Juno, even though she has a win rate under 48%, still could be the best option, still could be the best chance that you have of winning. Things like Juno, things like Hey Gang, still could be the best thing for you to pick. Don't get discouraged just because it's under 48% win rate, right? But usually, like, these things like Juno and Hey Gang is like when the opponent is out monstering you, like picking things that are just like really OP. It's like, okay, how do I count? They're counter picks. So counter picks are generally going to have lower win rates than the most toxic units in general. So there still could be the best picks for the job and give you the highest probability of winning. So don't get discouraged that these are under 48%. So we have the Fart Master, the Fire Art Master after he was picked all the time. He was like the first, a couple seasons ago, he was like first pick. It was like him and more. First pick. And now he's down to 49, 50. Oh, because his scroll doesn't trap. First off, he doesn't speed buff your team, and then also his scroll doesn't trap them for as long. So also Leo's a counter to. I mean, you can still trap Leo in the scroll, but Leo is a counter to him as well. Leo's just countered a lot of stuff. But anyway, we've got this guy who's just basically an RNG unit. This is another one that's basically an RNG unit. This guy has become super strong. Ciara, I don't. No, actually, we could check this. I was gonna say that Ciara's win rate has changed over the past couple seasons, but it really actually has stayed the same. It's just her pick rate has been decreased dramatically. Her win rate actually has been fairly similar from a couple seasons ago. And then we have, I think we already mentioned the other ones. We got Diana, we got Daphnis. Actually, surprisingly enough, Daphnis was much higher earlier, but then, you know, his win rate dropped. I think this is going to be the same thing with these guys. Like, any of the cleave units are gonna drop in win rate over the course of the season, which you're going to see. I mean, these things will go down slightly this will go down, and then this will go up, and then, like, it'll change, like, just slightly every day or every couple days. But this is just a general guideline of, like, what's going on this season in RTA, just in case you guys are curious, in case you guys are want to know what you should be picking, what you should be banning. Just pick first pick Wusa. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to know, guys, this season. We got the best. We got Annabelle here. I'm a dirty Annabelle abuser, but man, she does not work as effectively this season, especially if I'm not the one picking Wusa. You can't really pick Annabelle effectively into a Wusa. For the you can. I mean, you can, but for the most part, we got the Molong here. We got the Rika. Rika's basically dead this season, to be honest. Unless you're the one picking Wusa and you also happen to pick Rika in your team along with it. But just first pick Wusa, like I said, first pick Wusa is kind of nerfing a lot of these units, just because you know he's going to be in the battle somewhere. We got the Sekhmet, we got the Wind Monkey King has actually been. I've noticed he's been. Is this my imagination, or has he actually been picked more this season than before? Hold on, guys. I got to pause the video again. So it looks like my observations are correct. Xingzhe is a 9.54% win rate currently this season, and versus season 18, for example, 2 seasons ago, he was at a 3.81% pick rate. So that's a significant difference. That's 6% more than previously 2 seasons ago. And then we got the Chiwu. We got the, I mean, Chiwu is still an AoE stripper, but it's first off, it's a fire unit. You don't know he's actually going to land it on a lot of the water units people are picking, like for example the Molong, and or also some people picking Molly with the Wusa, etc., etc. But you don't know if he's actually going to land his skills. So just again, like units like this, units like this, units like this, decrease in their effectiveness. And then we got the Bulwark is actually a nice pick. Again, he's been banned a lot. That's why his win rate is low. If he was let through more often, his win rate would be higher, because he's a very strong counter to like the double immunity kind of thing. We're just back to the original Seasons of Summoners War double immunity bruisers. So yeah, we got the Riley here. Riley's a great unit. She has low base speed, but she's still a fantastic unit. She's still been picked quite a lot this season. Let's keep going. I keep going back to the numbers. I really got to stop pausing the video. This is going to take forever. But Riley has a 28.79% pick rate. She is in 28.79% of the matches. Very effective unit for a fusion unit. So, and then we have Hey Gang to Saria. I mean, there's a couple. I want to say there's a couple free-to-play players. There's a couple options for you. You can't get the right Nat 5s. There's a couple options for you. You can pick Tessarion. You can pick Riley. You can pick Vertiheal. And you will win roughly 49% of the time. Get excited. I mean, these are jokes, guys. Obviously, these are jokes. It really depends on trying to like maximize your rune efficiency and trying to pick the correct units for the job. Not necessarily that you need to have a lot of these units. Sometimes the best units for the job aren't even on this list because they're just not picked very often. But like for example, if you're going up against a Rika and a Gianna, you could pick the Tetra, you could pick the Water Mermaid, she's still an effective unit, you could pick Veramon, still an effective unit. They just happen to not be on this list because they're not the 50 most picked units of the season. Then we have the Poseidon, which is actually a nice unit, can't glance. From a few buffs ago, I don't remember exactly which balance patch it was, but he did get buffed. He gets buffed every so often, like every year he gets like a little buff here and there. It's like, you guys love him yet or no? And then we have the with Praha. She's under 48% win rate. I love Praha. I just have a soft spot in my heart for Praha. I should probably get that checked out by a doctor. I know YDCB has a soft spot for Praha as well. All right, guys. Anyway, that's it for this one. Just thought you guys would get a kick out of it. Again, this is all data provided by SW Arena and Relisora, so all credit goes to them. Just thought you guys would get a kick out of it. This is all based on win rate, etc., etc., etc. That's it for this. I keep saying it. That's it for this one. See you as always in the next one.